Miguel, and I come from Coliseum College Prep Academy, and I'm going to be interviewing you, asking a couple of questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to know, what is your relationship to the homefulness movement?
I am a poverty scholar, criminalized, racialized, and always in struggle for $1. I'm all the people you don't want to see, never want to be. Look away from me. What you gonna do? Arrest me? I'm in your city. I start with my slam bio like that because me and my mama were arrested on the street trying to basically be housed. It's an active crime in this stolen indigenous territory to be homeless or houseless, or as we say, unhoused, because private property is considered a thing to buy and sell. And so if you don't have the money, the resources, the bloodstained dollars to buy it, you are actually considered a criminal within the settler colonizer laws. So as a person who is the melanin challenged daughter of a strong woman of color who was on the street, in and out of foster homes as a child, unprotected, abused, and barely made it out alive. She then became homeless when I was 11, and we ended up on the street. And for the rest of my childhood, we were in and out of doorways, shelter beds, our car. And when I was 18, I got arrested and incarcerated for 3 months. And that's why I wear my jail suit, not because orange is cute or the new black, because it ain't, okay? But in honor of all the thousands of poor people, black and brown folks, who were on the other side of the razor wire plantations for the sole act of being poor, of being a person of color, and of dealing with this white supremacist nation they call America.
So my first question is, as a self-determined individual, member of the homefulness movement, what is something you look forward to this movement or program?
You mean look forward in the future?
Yeah.
Well, we're just in the beginning stages of a landless peoples movement in the stolen territory called Wichine Ohlone land that they know of as Oakland. It's an intentionally blighted poor people of color neighborhood, deep east Oakland, as I think you guys know, being residents of the hood. You know, it didn't have to be like this. We as indigenous peoples had everything. This is pretty predominantly a black neighborhood, and poor people and people of color and black people are not in control of the resources in this neighborhood. We just suffered a fire down the street of 10 businesses that were mostly black owned. They're not rebuilt. That lot is staying empty. So one of the things that we try to do is create what we call a degentrification zone. We're trying to help people stay here. We're trying to help poor people, unhoused folks like myself, like my brother Mutiado, like Dee, like Mama Francis, Queen Nande, Lori, some of the folks you've already met. We're trying to actually change the dynamic of buying and selling of Mother Earth, and actually be able to stay here in our communities without the threat of displacement, of gentrification, of criminalization. So what we see in the future is more homefulness is built. This is just a template. This one being right here on a small stretch of Black Arthur. But I do want to say that we asked permission first of our Ohlone Nation. We asked elders of the Ohlone Nation, who are still very much alive, that's the first peoples of this land, if we could build here. And they said, not only could we do it, but they asked to be part of our movement, and we're honored and asked them to be part of our Elders Council. So how we see this in the future, more homefulnesses. We also want to build more houses here. We're trying to raise money to actually house more folks. We're trying to create the Sliding Scale Cafe, which is a micro-business, self-determined movement, so that we can actually feed our community, ourselves, and also create a small way of self-sustaining. And community gardens that's actually for the community, which we had before that we had to start building.
Okay. Another question is, do you consider yourself a self-determined person or individual?
Well, first of all, self-determination by design as a movement is really more about interdependence. It's about not about the individual. It's about, I'm okay if my brother's okay. I'm okay if my sister's okay. If they're not okay, then I'm not okay. And within a self-determined concept, we're actually trying to lift up as poor people of color, unhoused folks, disabled people, migrante folks, to actually help each other. That's why we started the school. A lot of our mamas are in struggle. A lot of our children are in struggle in the man's school. They were in detention. They were lost in a system that doesn't care about them. So all of the things that we do here are acts of self-determination, but they're very much related to the connection between each other. So no, I don't think I would call myself an individual self-determined person, but actually an interdependent self-determined person.
Right. So the last question is, what made you start this organization, this movement, and what is like your message you're trying to let others know? What is something you want other people to know about this issue or this inequality that's going on?
Well, first of all, homeless people aren't a tribe. A lot of young people need to hear that because that's what we're taught. That you are okay if you're making a lot of paper, a lot of change, if you're, rocking all the new, corporate logos. That has nothing to do with who you are. And just because we don't have money to pay for rent, or we got caught up in some stuff and we can't even get another apartment because of BS like credit checks and all these ways that poor people are predated on, that has nothing to do with who you are as a person. So I want to take that lie out the equation. Just because we may or may not have a roof, because we may or may not have a home, it does not define us, right? Me and my mama started Poor Magazine along with other unhoused and poor and disabled folk. Not alone. This is not a bootstrap story. Me and my mom worked really hard and we started. No, no, no. Matter of fact, starting an organization for us was just a way to actually come together with folks and work in community to lift ourselves together out of poverty, and not with this idea that we're all going to be rich. No, we're all going to be okay because we have each other. So that was one of the original ideas, and it still remains. We started the notion of homefulness back when we were homeless, and homefulness is a homeless people's solution to homelessness. And that's really different because usually it's governments and eugenicist-funded foundations that kick you a little bit of crumbs if you say the right things and if you do the grant dance. That's not how we are. What we are is actually revolutionaries that follow leaders like the Black Panther Liberation Party, like the Young Lords, the Boricua brothers and sisters, like my mama from Philly, like Zapatistas in Chiapas, the Shack Dwellers Union in South Africa, the Landless Peoples Movement in Brazil, Move Africa, Long Live John Africa. What we're trying to do is actually just be about liberation and stop the white supremacist nation from predating on our folks. We are on Black Arthur right now. I just heard the story of Brother Donald lived next door his whole life as a poor man, a man who walked softly on Mother Earth like my mama used to say. He got gentrified out of his apartment. They gave him $1,000 to leave. And as a humble brother, he just took it. He said, okay, I'll get a car and I'll move to Sacramento. I heard it was okay up there. He gets a G. He buys a hoopty. You all know what $1,000 is going to get you. He buys a hoopty. It breaks down on Highway 80. Doesn't even get to Sacramento. Fixes the car by any means necessary. Gets all the way to Sacramento. But up in Sacramento, he had to get up into some other stuff. Just to survive, he ended up dealing meth. This is an elder. This is a 62-year-old black Indian man, okay? He was, quote, illiterate from the colonizer's language. He'd been poor all his life. He just got arrested and all the stuff seized, caught up in some ridiculous drug ring that he wasn't even making any money on. Now he's going to do hard time in federal prison at 63 years old. That's what gentrification, that's what displacement, and that's what this white supremacist nation causes. We're trying to be about something different. Liberation, all power to the people.
Thank you.
All right? One.
This is Potential. I'm from Oakland reporting a segment from Youth Poverty Scholar Radio, KXU 96.1 FM, and I'm in the studio with Hazel and Black Gold.
Hi, my name is Hazel. I'm from San Francisco. Hi, I'm Black Gold. I'm from New York.
Today we are reporting on the landless people's movement in Brazil. The landless people's movement is located in Brazil. The idea of the project is to grow their own food instead of killing off their people, and also to get the farmers back their land so they can have collective living and live in harmony. The living conditions in Brazil's landless people movement are similar to the ones in Standing Rock, but there's no snow. There's just dirt and stove ovens, teepees, and tents. They are much like tiny houses, so they can live in them depending on the tent determines how many people will live there.
This can relate to homefulness because just like the movement, homefulness's goal is to grow their own food so they won't have to eat GMO food and get killed off. Another goal is to build collectively and have homes for other people other than themselves.
This also relates to self-determination by the government of MST has a gender equality rule, and a country determines its own statehood and forms its own allegiances and government, in which all these things can relate to Marcus Garvey. He was a black man who lived in Jamaica and came to America to make wealth for himself, and that's what he wanted all over the world.
Since its creation in the early 1980s, the MST was pressured the government to give land titles to approximately 150,000 families.
Today, the movement supports the struggle of over 57,000 families who have occupied uncultivated land in 23 states. Today, in my opinion, the movement is interesting and much like homefulness. I think it's creative and innovating that they have enough brains to actually realize the government wants to give us extra body parts by feeding us GMO.
The landless people's movement in Brazil, in my opinion, is a good thing. They are very good farmers and they deserve respect.
This is Potential closing out of this segment, reporting live from Huchin, Iloni Land on Youth Scholars Radio.
Hello, my name is Youngji. I come from a poor family. I'm from East Oakland. I go to a school that protests. Also today we are doing a poor people investigation. One time me and my family were in the house chilling when the police kicked down our door. Boom! It sounded like a bomb dropping. That's when the police came in my house looking for my dad. They went in the bedroom, then they looked in the closet. They found my dad, but he was hiding from the police. They took my dad and went downstairs and put him in the car. After the police left, our house was destroyed.
You are now tuned in to the Welfare Queen Show, 96.1 FM. That's KEXU, Pole People's Revolutionary Radio and TV. My name is Junebug, radical teacher, repping the inner city, 415 for life.
And I am She Be Lady Blue, the sister with a clue.
Well, we all go through challenges in our lives, and we have to make choices, and thus we learn lessons. What are some of the challenges, choices, and lessons that you'll be discussing in your radio show?
So I will be covering, the name of my show will be called Why It's All Connected, talking about the correlations of why is homelessness correlated to healthcare. Why is hunger, why are people going hungry in a supposedly so wealthy country? And there will definitely be guests that will be coming on and sharing their news and information about what they're doing in the community, and connecting people to resources, because at the end of the day, it's all about resources. Where are your resources? Get connected.
Well, thank you. You make me think of a quote that Tupac had said, when you're talking about making the connection. And he made the connection of, this country got money for war but can't feed the poor. So, I think we do need to make the connections. These are not isolated situations. We need to really foster critical thinking so people can really see what's going on. I think we live in a world right now where things are really jaded and there's a lot of smoke screens. So I appreciate the fact that you're going to be tearing down those smoke screens so people can really see what's going on. That's what's up.
Absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in to the Welfare Queen Show on 96.1 FM KEXU, Po People's Revolutionary Radio and TV. Peace.
Peace. One love. Well.
Ha 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 ha! I'm the Black Cripple. Here it is. Welcome to the Crip Hop Radio Show on KXEXU 96.1 FM. Yes, I'm the Black Cripple, and you are tuned into the Crip Hop Radio Show. You know what's Crip Hop? Crip Hop is an international music project with people with disabilities in KEXU 96.1 FM. Today, I have the co-founder of Crip Hop Nation, Keith Jones.
What's up, Leroy?
Hey, Keith. So Crip Hop Nation turns 10 years old this year. 10 years doing Crip Hop Nation. So Keith, tell us how we met and tell us why Crip Hop Nation is here.
Okay, well, long story short, I like to shout out to my people for still with CNN.
Yeah.
For still with all my people out there. What's up? Well, it's crazy because Crip Hop, well, it's funny because you found me and you stumbled across me on MySpace. So they should take y'all back. And then we linked up, and then it just was like a kismet thing. We started talking when you showed up at the 2004 Democratic National Convention, and we snuck in and shut down the whole disability thing. So that's how we met. And then out of the discussion about that, we kept talking about how hip-hop, at least hip-hop at the time, when I was really trying to push the stuff, was not really disability friendly.
Hell yeah, still not.
So yeah, and so we decided to start this thing, and it was crazy because it really was out of your passion and my passion for music that this thing turned into Crip Hop worldwide. Now it's a decade later. We blacker, crippler, sexier, and still doing our thing. So. But the crazy part is Crip Hop, even 10 years out, we're still facing barriers to access in terms of music, in terms of getting our message out, because people really don't want to talk about disability just as a human condition. They want us to be like, oh my God, you're like this so shitty, so we're going to make you better, excuse my French. And you make me feel better because you're in a wheelchair and I'm not. So the goal is really to move away from inspiration porn and have people see the artists, acknowledge their disability, but understand that their disability is only a fragment of their personality or their life. It may govern certain things, but it does not define them. So we really try to take this effort to elevate it beyond just seeing the disability, but to see the human that's involved.
Amen. And you know, Crip House is international. We have chapters in Africa, Europe, US, Canada. We just got back from South Africa in December, and we're about to go back again. But I want to go on because you just heard our theme song from Rob Denoy's Temple, straight from Brooklyn, Brooklyn, New York, and that's called Tales of the Crip. And it was on the first Crip Hop mixtape. And as you can see, Crip Hop put together our 10th anniversary CD that just came out a couple months ago with DMC from Ron DMC. And so we're doing it. We have this event coming up on July 29th at the Eastside Arts Alliance in East Oakland. But also beyond Crip Hop, because our tagline is Crip Hop is more than music. So Keith, you just dropped a hot Facebook video. Oh my God. Tell us about that video, and you just like broke the internet. Forget about Beyonce. Crip Hop just broke the internet. So tell us about that video.
Oh, okay. So the Facebook Live video was in response to this seemingly insatiable notion for people to be chronically stupid and chronically ignorant and woefully disparaging of anybody. So as you know, today the Senate released their quote healthcare bill, and a lot of my friends and some of the disability activists of that were at Mitch McConnell's office getting arrested. But I had to pull back and say, all my people, do your thing, I got you. But what is the real discussion? How will you have a discussion about somebody's health care in designing a bill when every person on that hill is absolutely guaranteed health care whether they pass this bill or not? And if you are going to be a politician, how do you say, I'm going to subject you to laws that won't affect me? Kiss my ass. And so what today was about was really, I got fed up because you had 13 senators sit down in a room and basically get crazier than the congressional proposal, and I just can't take it because here's the thing: if you commoditize health care, the incentive to provide it is perverse. Period. In the story. If the goal of healthcare, of a health insurer, is to make money, their goal is not to keep you healthy. Their goal is to keep you on the verge of wellness as long as you're taking their medicine. I can't do that. And then they're going to sit there and Mitch McConnell with no neck, no lips, and no soul, is sitting there saying,
he's a Muppet.
Well, Obamacare is broken. Obamacare is what we had in Massachusetts, and we worked on it. We called it health care for all. In 1997, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, we fought in this state to get that. 98% of the people, 96% of the people in Massachusetts are covered. Here is what makes me crazy. What is your perverse ideology that you are so dead set against people maintaining the most fundamental, essential thing of life, which is health? Why is that controversial? And more importantly, why does it seem that in the political sphere, it is really driven by white, rich men?
Amen.
And and if you really are going to talk about it, this is why we put it to beats. We did SSI dollars, we did, in the case, like we did all of that
SSI
stuff.
dollars.
Okay, so you did all this stuff. You sitting there, and so I'm sitting here doing advocacy. I got people in wheelchairs who literally, now that they have been dragged, have to depend on Medicaid to get their doctors to get them fixed. Oh, that's right. You niggas don't need Medicaid. You crips don't need Medicaid. And so I guess the video was really me just being frustrated, particularly with the elites in our advocacy, how they cannot frame the discussion. The discussion is not about the ACA.
All right, Keith.
I'm sorry.
We got to end it right there, but we'll do part 2. And please,
Okay.
keep listening to KEXU 96.1 FM.
We love you, Keith.
Love you.
Go.
My name is Flexionary.
Okay.
My first question is, when did you first get involved with Poor Magazine?
Okay, I got involved with Poor Magazine. I think I was about 18 years old. It was right after high school. The main reason, back then I started doing a little bit of spoken word, a little bit of poetry, and it was I wanted to do a little more writing, and there was not a lot of outlets. And one time I ran into this ad on the Bayview newspaper, which is the only African American black newspaper here in the Bay Area. And so I seen an ad, and it was an ad by Poor Magazine, and they were talking about, do you want to publish your book, your poetry book, do a CD? And it was like hip hop, and so I was like, yeah, it caught my eye, because I'm a poet and artist, and I want to like express my art through music and to writing and poetry.
How would you say Poor Magazine helps our community?
That's a deep question. In so many levels. I think as a young man, when I was 18, came to Poor Magazine, which is a media arts organization. Also, those things that I also always speak about. The one thing that I was interested in Poor Magazine is that Poor Magazine is a poor people led. The people who actually are leading the organization is people who themselves have been impacted by poverty, by homelessness, firsthand. And I knew back then. 10, 11 years ago, there was well-hearted organizations, but I couldn't relate to the people that were leading it or the work they were doing.
What was your living situation when you came here?
So my living situation, so I'm a migrant from Michoacan, Mexico. I like to say and recognize that I come from the Purépecha people, which is the indigenous people of Michoacan. My family, again, like many families in Mexico, had to leave because of lack of economic opportunity, for the lack of jobs. And so we migrated in here to Oakland because we already had a sister here. And so we cramped ourselves in a little studio, and my mom worked like 2-3 jobs, to support 6 of us. I come from a family of 11. So yeah, that's how I got here to Oakland.
Overall, what do you think the Project Homefulness will do for our community?
Again, for many things. I think that as a project that is being led, about how, housing our folks, about a project that is against gentrification, the displacement of our communities, that is a powerful thing, man. They have 2 people who have been impacted, people who have been evicted, people, I've been here in Oakland. I think I moved over 27 times. And a lot of the times was that because the rent increase, because the violence was getting out of hand. And again, so to have homefulness, a project that again is being led by people who've been impacted by gentrification, it's a powerful thing. We also know that there's people like the Move 9 from Philadelphia who tried this before, where Mumi Abu Jamal came out. So it's a self-determination people's projects, and it hasn't been easy, and we're walking slowly, but surely. We're determined people, and we're about doing the work, not talking. We're about let's get the work done, and let's save the talking for later.
Thank you.
Okay, what is your story?
My story is my family don't respect me because my mental condition problem. I also become homeless too myself. I went out to pick up cans and bottles I started making a lot of money on aluminum cans.
Okay. Did you own or rent a home in Oakland?
No, I didn't own. No, I didn't own the rental home in Oakland. I never owned a rental home.
Okay. What is your dream for housing?
What is my dream for housing? It's for me to get Section H.
Okay.
Section H voucher.
Okay. Would you like to have liberated land to build your own housing?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm Amir Coinage.
Okay, so how did you become houseless?
The police kicked down my house door. The sound was boom, made a big hole in my house, and that's how we became homeless.
So were you evicted?
Yes.
What is your dream for new housing that you want?
A little cabin in the woods.
Well, I got this figured out.
Would you like to have liberated land to build your own housing?
Yes.
Thank you.